Hi and welcome to Life on the Ground podcast with your host today, Gassim Sheikh. As always, please do subscribe to the channel. We have content from all different types of sports, as well as venturing into actors, musicians, politicians, something for everybody. Please do subscribe and tell your friends as well. Today's guest, this chap is very close to home, fellow Glaswegian, fellow Pakistani Glaswegian, multi-talented individual, actor, model, presenter, community worker, football enthusiast. I say assalamu alaikum to Atta Yaqub. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm very good, Kasim. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be able to share some of my journey and my story, but also good to see you. Like you said, a fellow Glaswegian, Southsider, uh, sports activist, and everything else, and we'll probably have more parallels as today goes on.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I hear more about your football and your involvement in football. I think there'll be a lot of similarities with me and my cricket as well.
Yeah.
But let's get straight in. Let's take you back a little bit. Let's get your memory working. So you mentioned south side of Glasgow. That's where you originate from. Tell me a little bit about your family background, your youth, and what it was like growing up in Glasgow.
Yeah, I guess for me, Kasim, growing up in the south side of Glasgow, I was just outside kind of Govan Hill. I call it Queen's Park. First 18 years of our life. My mum raised five children, and when I say my mum, we lost our dad when we were all quite young. I was only four, so I won't give my age away, but good over 30 years ago. So my mum has been the pillar, raising five kids, and those in these days is tough enough, but never mind in those days where obviously 80s, 90s, you know, from racism to challenges to one single parent, etc. But she's done, I like to think she's done a sterling job. Two older brothers, two older sisters. Like I said, the youngest of five. Went to school at Cuthbertson, went to Shawlands Academy, one of the most multiracial schools there is in Scotland. And then went on to university at the Strathclyde Uni to do technology and business studies, which touch wood I've not ever had to use. Was an active member in the Boys Brigade, albeit I joined because of the football aspect of it. I just wanted to play football with the boys. But you know what? Boys Brigade, now reflecting on it, it taught you discipline, it taught you teamwork, it taught you structure. And now with what I do, all those little elements help. So yeah, that was a very quick pit stop. Obviously, loved football growing up, loved sports, just loved being around people. And one of my brothers, he was modelling full time in London, and as a wee guy, I was just like always in awe of him, you know. And he had this cool long hair, and I thought I was cool, so I grew it to there as well. Obviously, not very cool. And then through him, an agency approached me to do some modelling work, and I thought, why not? You know, let's do it all. And I guess that thing around just doing it all and trying my hand at whatever came, whatever God put before me, and giving it your best shot is where I've landed. And alhamdulillah, you know, thank God I've been able to build a bit of a profile thanks to that. And through that modelling, I was able to have this massive acting opportunity that I'm sure you're going to ask me about.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I want to mention your dear mum. That's you know, a lot of credit goes to your mother. It's five kids, and the fact that you've all, I don't know about all the other siblings, but I'm assuming they've all gone on to do something successful in their life.
Yeah.
And you obviously have done a lot of successful things that we're going to go on to touch on. So shout out to your dear mother. That's incredible. Sounds like a pretty cool childhood. Just a typical Glasgow boy. Loved the sport. And you had a role model in your brother.
Yeah.
But the modelling obviously went all right. And then my first time coming across you properly, I think you might be a year or two older than me. We don't want to mention that on this podcast. But was when you starred in the movie A Fond Kiss. Now, I want to really know about this story because, funnily enough, you played a young chap called Gassim
Great name.
in the
Great
movie,
name.
and you had a relationship with an Irish woman, and that obviously had a backlash from your Pakistani side of the family, and it had a lot of complications, which I'm sure many Asian men like yourself who played in that role have probably been involved with. So I thought it was a really cool story. How did it come about?
So just before we go to that, Gaston, I just want to say, obviously, when you said about upbringing, we don't have any extended family in Glasgow. So my mum and the network that she has through people and community was really what's made me. And I guess in terms of what I do now, in terms of work, and I know we'll talk about it later. People. Without sounding cheesy, the Glasgow people and people around us is really what's made me as well. But going back to A Kiss and going to start with A Kiss, like I said, I was doing part-time modelling. I was doing a fairly decent uni course, and I remember my agent calling me saying, there's this guy, he's a director, he wants to do this, some of these workshops and wants to see you for an audition. And when you're younger, you're gallus, nothing phases you, and even now, you get phased because you overthink things. But at that age, 23, 24, I went in, met Ken Loach, didn't know who Ken Loach was, acclaimed director who also, who has a real social following around the types of films he makes, and didn't know at the time that this was the third film he was making in Scotland. The first one being My Name is Joe with the great actor Peter Mullen. The second one being Sweet 16 with Martin Compston, who we all know, and the third one being A Kiss. So I'm up with some real strong characters there, but I didn't know any of this casting, so I just went in, met Ken Loach. He said, "Have you ever done acting before?" No. I told him a bit about my family and my history. Seemed to like me. Well, we called for an audition, and again, my agent was like, "I think they like you," and I was like, "Well, I'll go again." And they started introducing me to other actors and actresses, and I thought, this must be good if they're putting me in with different people to see what that look might be like. So I was working with different actresses, and he was just putting in real soft scenarios of what a relationship could be like. If you're at a cafe with your partner, what kind of conversation you would have. And unbeknown to me, that's him finding out about how someone works together, how they communicate, how that realism and that natural rawness, he can bring that out. And because I wasn't a trained actor, Gaston, he just let me go with the flow. And honestly, he changed my life. That whole process changed my life. I remember going down to see Manchester United versus Real Madrid. Me and the boys have got tickets. It was a 3-3 game, the old Real Madrid, sorry, the 4-3 game, the old Ronaldo, like Zidane,
etc.
Like,
I remember the game. I think I remember the game. Classic,
right? So we were traveling down, and I got a call from my agent, and those wee little Nokia phones that you had then, and they were like, "Listen, they want to see you back the next day, and they want you to meet the director and the producer and the writer." And I'm like this to the boys. I went, "I need to go back to Glasgow." They're like, "Well, we're staying over here, so you can't." Watched the game, got to the hotel, had an early night, and they dropped me off to the train station. First train back, I came straight to Glasgow, met with those three, Rebecca O'Brien, Paul Laverty, Ken Loach, and that afternoon I got a call from my agent to say I'd got the part, and I started crying because I didn't quite know, Gaston, what it was, but I just thought I was going to be in a film, in a lead role in a film that then travelled the world, allowed me to travel the world. It made me go and see festivals. It made me do interviews on TV and film. It brought an agent to me, a new agent that was all about acting. It just was incredible, bro, and very humbling. And alhamdulillah, God, there's different reasons for different things that happen, but it just totally shaped what I do and how I'm trying to do it, and it's been unbelievable.
It was a great movie, really was. I've actually watched it a couple of times. What's it like? You had no acting experience, as you said, so it wasn't like you had this childhood where you're leading up to this. This is just kind of sounds like you've just stumbled. It's stumbled across you, and you've got this great opportunity. But you would have been going on set, I'd imagine, with experienced actors and actresses.
Yeah.
So it comes back to, if that was to happen maybe right now out of the blue, you would be like, "Oh my God, how am I going to?"
Such a great question, Gaston, because like I said, you have this rawness, you have this gallus, you have this approach of, I'll take on anything, and you don't think about it. You're right. I've done jobs since then where I go to set and there's egos, there's personalities, there's an industry that has bits of that's been tarnished a little bit, which challenges you, because you know what, you're just another guy that's competing with some bigger actors. I didn't feel it at this point at all, Gaston. Firstly, because of the team Ken Loach has around him. the way he works. So he unveiled the script to me on a daily basis, Gassim. So I used to go home and read the script every night, which again, now would be quite challenging because I've got a kid, I've got this, I've got that. Then I was just like home, reading, learning my lines. The next day they would pick me up. So I was getting picked up, going costume, bit of makeup on, getting my breakfast, and thought, oh God, I could get used to this. I didn't know how to drive, Cassim, at the time. They put me through my driving license.
Wow.
And I remember at one point in the film, and like you said, it's a relationship between me and an Irish Catholic girl. And Ken Loach came to me and he goes, oh, do you have a passport? And I went, yeah, got a passport. He goes, oh, okay. You might be going on holiday. I was, wait, what are you talking about? Like, he goes, no, if you're in a relationship, you go on a holiday, don't you? And I went, are we going away? And he was like, yeah. So within 3 days, obviously production deals with it all, but we were off to Malaga. We spent 4 days in Spain, and it was just incredible. Like, this wee guy, like you said, Pakistani, South Side, never done a film before in his life, passed his driving, on set every day, in front of a camera, best of gear at that time in terms of what they give you and everything. It was just so humbling, bro. And I was like, it was a bit of a dream almost. And then obviously, as you see the finished article, you start doing the interviews, you go to Berlin for the world premiere, down a red carpet, and it just blew my mind. Honestly, bro, it blew my mind.
It's listening to it just sounds absolutely incredible. It sounds like, you got that movie, an actual proper blockbuster movie, red carpet, rubbing shoulders with all the who's who, I'd imagine, of that industry. And you're just a complete baby in it. Must have just been like, you must have been like a sponge, just soaking it all up.
Honestly, it was a sponge soaking it all up. It was a rabbit caught in the headlights. You call it what you want. I know what, bro, which is weird because families in our culture aren't so connected. No one really got what I was doing, right? Like, they'll encourage you because as you get older, they get to know what the industry's about. But at that age, going off to Berlin, going off to do film festivals in the US, BBC doing a documentary on me, mashallah, so many different things added to it. But you don't really get that. How are you getting on? What are you going through at the moment? Because only you know this, and you don't reflect on it at that point either. You have to step back after 10, 15 years and go, wow, I did this, I achieved this, and only now in this position you can do that and share that and motivate other people to do it. Don't get me wrong, you want to continue doing it yourself more and more as well, but you have to. There's a reality check that comes in sometimes in this industry as well. But at that time, Gassim, A Fond Kiss was just incredible. It just changed my life in the best way. And the advice Ken Loach gave was, look, great, you're going to sign up with an agent, but keep doing what you're doing. I was doing some youth work at the time. I was involved with the community. I was doing my degree. I managed to get a job straight after it around working for a youth counselling agency. So he was always encouraging me to keep that humbleness, keep your feet on the ground, because he wasn't sure where I would want to go or not. He didn't want to fully encourage me to get into an industry that he's probably seen ups and downs in. He was just trying to be honest with me as possible. And I'm so glad, alhamdulillah, that I managed to keep at that level with it.
Proud of you for that. Watched the movie, like I said, you were very, very good. Loved the Glaswegian accent with the Pakistani Glaswegian accent on screen. It was nice to see. Powerful story, as I said, that I'm sure many people can relate to. Where did it then? So you mentioned you went into like community work and stuff. Was there no further quick opportunities that maybe came in the acting?
No, there was because it took about a year or so to release. People forget that it takes time for pre-production, etc. Yep. It took a little bit of a while to release, so I managed to sign up with an agent, a really big agent actually in London. Excuse me. And then I got some really good jobs at the back of it. I played a counsellor in a Channel 4 programme called Legless. I got a number of different other credits at that time, Doctors, Nina's Heavenly Delights, any kind of production that was coming up. I was just, having small parts. I wouldn't say too many big parts, but 2 or 3 big parts from it. And you know what, I was just digesting it all and really trying to soak it in. There was a job in Pakistan that BBC were commissioning around called Karachi Uncovered. So I flew out to my homeland, which was, again, another brilliant experience because I hadn't been to Pakistan in over 20 years.
Wow.
And I went to Karachi, which again, this is going back 10, 15 years now. And Karachi was so advanced, even, I know it's even more advanced now, but just seeing the glitterazzi in Karachi, the acting, the promo stuff, the TV stuff, all this happened as a result of A4 Kiss. This profile, this Atta Yaqub, if you can call it that, without sounding like an arse, it was just as a result of all that. So, yeah, opportunities came, but I'm not going to lie, Gassim, the opportunities came, and then suddenly there was a dip, it went really, really quiet for me. Helps, it affects your confidence, it affects all aspects of what you are and what you're doing. I went down to London, that wasn't very successful, and then I came back and almost, I wouldn't say reinvented myself, because, but you change strategies, you mature, you learn from experiences. And then I got this cracking job in Germany, where I had to learn German, and I had a lead part in a German drama, which was
bloody hell. That's a tough. That's to take on another language to play in a role. That's tough.
Yeah. So that happened maybe about 5-6 years after A4 Kiss. So and again, for me, that experience in itself was just incredible because I was out with my comfort zone. I had learned a new language. I was staying for 2 months in Leipzig, which is east of Berlin. Made some unbelievable friends. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch jetzt, aber I can speak little bits of German now, and it was just a different experience, bro. And one of that I loved just as much. So my profile was building. Like I said, there was dips, and now it's all about how do you maintain that? How do you go on a little course? How do you go on an accent course? How do you fit that into everything else that you do now? That's what the challenge is now.
It's not an easy industry. It's a very competitive industry. So I'm not surprised you had some ups and some downs. It all isn't hunky-dory, I'd imagine, being in that. It has a lot of disappointment in it at times. So it's no easy. Same with musicians as well. Such a competitive industry.
Yeah.
Working in the UK then, you mentioned you had this stint abroad. Anywhere else that you went abroad working?
Ironically, again, Pakistan. I did a film called Good Morning Karachi, and I had to talk like this the whole time. I was playing quite a cool character, but again, so it was brilliant, Castle, because this happened as a result of the producers from Germany. The German film recommended me to this Pakistani film, right?
Wow.
So I went to Pakistan, Karachi again, and they were hating me, bro, because they could have picked an actor from there, right? And they were really like, I wouldn't say negative towards me, but I knew underlying there was like, who's this guy? Okay, he's done a bit of work, but we've got about 1 million actors here that could have done this. But again, the connections you build, the productions that you do was what got me there. So we did a film called Good Morning Karachi. Again, had a really nice part, a kind of male lead. But working out there was again incredible. Just, it wasn't a documentary the way I did before with the BBC. This was more acting. It was about female empowerment, about how a young girl from the kind of poverty has aspirations to do. Sort of lovely story. And I was really hoping I wasn't playing this mean character who's got the suave and takes advantage of it, and very much I didn't. Thankfully I played someone who kind of helps her in that journey. There's a bit of a love interest as well. So do you know what, bro? It was a cracking experience, great fun to do, great laughs doing it, and again another lovely credit on my profile and on my Spotlight CV. So
I'm going to put that on my list. Good Morning Karachi. I've not seen that. So I will. I'm going to be looking that up, and I need to see this accent of yours in work. But sounds like it was quite a nice movie. So you experienced. What age are you right now?
Right now?
Not right this minute. What age are you at that moment in your career?
I'm about 5-6 years ago, so I'm about 34 or something.
Right. Okay.
32, 33. Yeah.
Okay. So. You were obviously you've always been involved with a lot of things, a lot of different initiatives in Glasgow. That's where I've always seen you here, there. You do presenting as well. Tell me about some of the other things that you've done then. So presenting, for instance, You've also worked with the Princess Trust. I think that's something more recent. Maybe we can come on to that. But tell me about your presenting stuff.
So my presenting stuff, again, it comes from A Kiss. It comes from the profile. And when I went to Pakistan for the first documentary many moons ago, that was my first insight into, doing pieces to camera, getting a script, kind of memorizing really quickly and delivering my lines to camera. So I was building my presenting skills up as I was going along. Locally, in terms of the community, I've always been involved with community work, be it at a youth level, be it with Show Racism the Red Card, who I used to do work with in schools, etc. I always try to keep on a full-time job, guys. I've not been blessed with, family kind of support in that respect. We knuckle down and we get it done. I've not come from any hand-me-downs at all. Alhamdulillah, we've done good, like you said, but it's always been a graft.
Mm-hmm.
So, being involved with that, community events and stuff, starting hosting them, putting my name out there. And then I guess I should really send you it, just building up contacts and networks and people from production companies asking me to present a story that I did last year, 2 years ago, on Mohammed Salim, the first Indian footballer to come to Celtic. I did a story for the People's History programme. I did a programme last year called Getaways, the BBC Scotland commissioned. So it'd be great to do something like this regular. That's the kind of aim. But these little freelance jobs that come about as a result of your profile, the fact that people see you and get you involved in hosting things because you can carry yourself, you're going to be professional, you're going to, like you said, be punctual and get things done and be honest with it. So alhamdulillah, it's just built from that profile from the start and building on experiences and getting some training as I went along. Spent some time in London, like I said. If I wasn't getting work, I was going and doing some classes, because that helps build your confidence and your skill set.
The power of networking is incredible. I've
you'll know this through the work you're doing just now.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of what you're saying because playing cricket, you were all constantly meeting people. Then in the business world, you're constantly meeting people who can open other. And then in the podcasting world, the networking has been so powerful that you just don't know who you could be speaking to tomorrow because your profile is going. So I never quite starred in a lead role in a movie like yourself, but I can understand where you're coming from. And it's amazing that movie has opened up so many different avenues for you to the point that you've done literally a bit of everything. Would it be safe to say master of many trades? No, I've lost my.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Thank you very much.
No.
So,
I hope not. I think whatever I've been asked to do and wherever I've been trying to do it, you like you said, you give your all doing it. But of course, like any actor or presenter, do I want a regular gig? Absolutely. And I guess when that moment comes, if it comes again, because maybe some people start off the way I am now and build up to that A Kiss role, whereas for me it was a flip. I started up there.
Yeah, exactly. There was no little steps towards playing a little role here and a little. You were straight in a lead role.
Yeah. Whereas now, as I get the little roles, and sometimes those little roles can progress, and you get 2-3 episodes. Sometimes you get 1-2 lines, but life is different for me now, and as you know, I've got a fairly new family like yourself. I work full time, so again, if it's not meant to go in that direction, as a younger Atta, I would have been a little bit more anxious and worried, and how do I do this? Whereas now, you count your blessings and you do what you can do, and as long as you've got that contentment, but you don't give up that fight, then you'll be all right.
Great words, great inspiration to anybody listening out there as well. I mean, that's powerful stuff. Any youngsters out there who are wishing to aspire to do something with their life, I hope they get a chance to listen to some of your knowledge because it's second to none. Passion for football. Now, you say you're a fan of football. You any good at football? Never played against you or anything? Are you? No. What's your skill level like?
No, I've always been better than average.
That's good. Better than average is good. Where would you
better
play?
than average.
What position do you like to play?
Midfield. I play
Midfield.
in midfield. And when I say passion for football, you know, you're from the south side of Glasgow. Your friends hate on you because most of them are Celtic supporters and I'm not, right? So that's always a challenge in itself. But I used to play at school level, went into boys brigade, and that was kind of it. I remember though at the boys brigade, winning player of the year one year as holding midfielder. That shows you how fast I was, right? Because I wasn't fast. I just held the midfield. But Stuart
Somebody's
McCall,
got to do it. Somebody's got to do that role.
Might as well be me. And Stuart McCall presented me with the trophy. And I remember listening to the radio the other day and we were driving. He was co-commentating with Pat Bonner. And my wife was, what are you listening to this for? I was listening to, I don't know, maybe Rangers or someone before they clinched the title. And I went, by the way, that guy, he presented me with that trophy. And she was like, who knows him? And I was like, I know him. That's all
I know him. So to your wife, if she's watching this, I know Stuart McCall as well, famous footballer for Glasgow Rangers, holding midfield player, tough. So, you know, the perfect man to get that award off, and it must have been an honour to receive that from him. So you've been involved in 2 football organisations.
Yeah.
There's Ansar and there's SFA, but tell me more about it.
No, so the Ansar is again, it's like all those things I juggle. Ansar's a part of me, bro. My best friend and I, we set up Glasgow Ansar. Ansar is all nation sports, arts, recreation. We provide sports opportunities for young people from predominantly Pakistani and Indian communities, but we've opened out to a lot more diverse. We've got a couple of football teams. We run an academy. I do the coaching at the academy along with a number of volunteers on a Sunday. So if you want to bring your kids, Sunday at Goals in Shawlands. Even if you just want to come and see, we've got a great setup. We try to do work with young females through netball and other sports. And then we're trying to, you know, get them into other aspects of arts and recreation as well. So Ansar is a part of me. After London, when I came back, there was a role with the SFA around equity, and I applied for a role and I became an equity officer. So essentially, I was working at the grassroots levels for the Scottish Football Association and trying to really, at the grassroots, get young people, get communities from our backgrounds involved in football, but structurally involved as coaches, as referees, as players. What structures are there? And alhamdulillah, we managed to set up a number of different academies that are running just now through charities and through other groups. So I was involved with the SFA. I got up to my C licence for coaching, and then it was time for a change, and I moved to the Princess Trust to do more development work with youth around employability, around personal development programs, and I'm currently head of community engagement at the Princess Trust. So these were my full-time jobs in terms of SFA and Princess Trust. They're the bread and butter. I do that every day, and everything else works around that somehow.
Somehow, it'd be interesting to see how that diary. You know, you could get a phone call right now. For all we know, you could be starring in a big movie that's coming out in 6 months' time. Who knows? Like you're actually in that kind of life, that kind of situation where who knows? Still a young man. Maybe your acting career will even. Maybe they'll like you as an older. You just don't know. You don't know what's going to come. You've got the profile now. You've been involved in things like that. So who knows what might come about? But it's really cool with Ansar. I've known of it. I've never actually been involved in anything to do with it. I played a bit of football with Dunfermline when I was younger, so I played a bit of football, but I never ever got involved. But I've heard about Ansar for years. Yeah. How many years you been running now then in total?
Over 20. Wow. Over 20. We at one point, Kasim, we at one point had 2 adult teams. We had youth teams. Obviously, we had an academy. We had summer programs. And of course, you know, a lot of it is dependent on funding and time and commitment and stuff. And we were all young enough to fully invest that. You know, we were running leagues around 5-a-sides, etc. But you know, things change, people move on, etc. So the core of that has remained, but different elements that we dropped off have dropped off. We even had a cricket team once, Kasim. When I mentioned yourself to a good friend of mine, he goes, "Oh, he's a great cricketer," and he knew far more about you than me. So I was like, well, I think I want to be on his podcast. He went, "He's a lovely guy and all that." I goes, "I know the name, but I've never met you." So when you did reach out to me, I thought, I phoned him and I goes, "By the way, I'm going to be." He goes, "Nice one, Atta, do it." So you know what? It all works out. You know, all these stars align, as they say.
Come back around, don't you? It's actually strange because I've seen you so many times through the years. And it's strange that we haven't actually ever engaged, because you're obviously been involved in sport, fellow. And it's nothing that it's just not. It's just you've probably been busy doing what you're doing. I'm busy doing what I'm doing, and it brings us full circle to sitting here talking on a podcast. Shows you how the power of life in the world. You just don't know. Prince's Trust. That sounds like a really cool role that you're involved with now. Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, so essentially, Gaston, throughout my kind of career, not only acting, presenting, community, there's always been a notion to obviously earn, because we need to live and we need to support, but also to kind of give back and find opportunity for young people and communities. And this role, when I first joined them, was all around engaging with Muslim and ethnic minority young people in schools. I went into the education stream, so I was focusing on generic community. I then went into business development. So over the last 4 or 5 years with the Prince's Trust, I've held a number of different roles, and it's all about empowering youth. It's all about giving them access to employability, enterprise, personal social development, and obviously working for the trust is massive because of the association to Prince Charles, the credibility that's got throughout the UK and worldwide. And I've been very fortunate. I've worked for the SFA, which is a big sporting institute, and now working for one of the leading charities is very humbling, but also a great way for me to get really into those communities and get them to embrace some of the stuff we do. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't always work. When I talk about community, I'm talking largely about Black and people of colour, Pakistani, Indian, asylum seeker, refugees. Bridging those gaps is not easy because communities have their own challenges. You go to Govan Hill, for example, big Eastern European community. What are we doing for them? Not enough. I could be engaging more to get more relatable role models from that community to pass these messages on. So there's loads of work still to be done, but what vehicles can be used? Cricket, football, these are the vehicles. Employability, giving them actual positive outcomes. These are the vehicles or tools that we can use at the Prince's Trust to give that opportunity and then lead young people into better lives.
So how can people get involved? How can they? I'm a young teenager, not really got much opportunity. How can I get involved? How would I approach somebody like yourself? How would I go about it?
Yep, great question. Again, now there's so many ways. Before it used to be the old school. When we were younger, we need to chat on a door and somebody comes in and then we talk to them. You get caseworkers. That's still the case. But now there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's websites. That's just 4 things that we didn't have, or if we had, we didn't know about. All these things you see posters. We've got posters up on bus stops, etc. It's just about making that engagement. It's about finding. You might find something that appeals to you. We do programs like getting into retail, getting into construction, whatever industry it is. We try to program our delivery so it suits a young person's needs. So it could be get into coaching football. We might work with Rangers, Celtic to do that. We're not at the moment, but we have done in the past. So it's just about finding through these brilliant organisations as well how they are connecting to Prince's Trust and just make a connect with us. Job centres, they know about us as well. So there's so many different ways, bro, and I hope I've highlighted some of them.
Absolutely, and the power of sport is just incredible. I mean, I've seen firsthand all over the world. Had the pleasure of being lucky enough to travel the world myself, and sport everywhere you go brings people together. It's interesting you bring up Govan Hill and the fact that there maybe isn't a lot of opportunities for a lot of these kids in that area. Getting them involved in something like a local football tournament or encouraging their parents to come along and engage, get to know other people and stuff is so powerful. And I think the role that you're doing and what the Prince's Trust are doing is excellent. The pandemic might have maybe made things a little bit tricky for you as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, Kasim, it's not, there's a lot of good community organisations out there that are doing that, and sometimes they focus on a community, which again through funding, through their niche, that's all they can do. I guess Prince's Trust, I'm neutral. I want to work with everyone. Do you know what I mean? I don't have, excuse me, I don't want to work on just a community. But you're right, the pandemic has just highlighted even more that young people are at even more threat and challenged even more when it comes to mental health, future outcomes, stress levels. The list goes on, and the fact that we're coming out of it, and there's a number of different schemes like Kickstart that the government are initiating. We're utilising them to support young people. This pandemic, we are coming out of it, and I really encourage whoever listens to pass that message on to younger people. And if young people are listening, that there's opportunities out there, but you have to be a little bit more proactive as well and come and speak to people, because they will lend you a helping hand.
Brilliant. It's all this is being done and happening while I know you're now in a situation where reality has set in. Young Atta, Yaqub, high flyer, jumping about to London, Germany, off to Malaga. Those days are
gone.
They're gone now. You have a mashallah young married, and you have a young daughter.
Yeah. If I turn the camera around, you would notice her slide and little car in the garden, because the house has just been taken over by her. She's got.
Well, what I did notice was before we came on, you were eating her sweets.
She shouldn't be having sweets. Listen, that's what I tell her, right? But my wife's left a wee jar there. It's probably just for me to finish off. But yeah, alhamdulillah, a young, beautiful wee daughter, now 1 year old. And yeah, you know what? That's life, innit? Everything else is just secondary now.
Well, you'll know the feeling when you go to do anything now. It feels like you're doing 10 times the amount that you're having to do, because this little bundle of joy that you have. My daughter's a little bit older, 16, 17 months now. So you have some fun and games to come. And, the next 6 months, the change will happen immensely, and you'll be getting pulled from pillar to post. I guarantee you that. So how do you, does your wife, is she a professional? Is she working, or how do you juggle things?
Yeah, no, she's part-time. She's working part-time. Her mum and dad look after Hidayah when she's working. I'm obviously working full-time. So yeah, that's the kind of dynamic, I guess. And it's just life. We just make it happen. So we make it work, mashallah. And yeah, it's just you have to do it. That's the thing. There's no formula, and if there is a formula, I'd like to see it. But whatever dynamic you're in, you make it work. And currently, it's working for us. Fingers crossed.
No, good for you. Good for you. I'm wishing you all the best. So Atta, we're coming towards the end here. You have done a lot of impressive things in your life, and I hope to see you go on and do lots more. For young girls and guys out there, 13, 14, 15, 16, with big dreams, big aspirations, maybe want to go into acting, maybe want to go into modelling, maybe want to go into presenting, what advice do you give them?
The first bit of advice I give them is just try everything. Like when it comes to opportunity, don't be so selective. If you've got the time and you've got the opportunity, go and try it. If there's a workshop happening that's for free somewhere, or if your parents have said, oh, why don't you go and do this? We're very keen to discourage, or don't fully push it all the way. Be it acting, but you need to get them away from phones and tablets and laptops and stuff, because we need to experience things. Nowadays, don't get me wrong, we have to experience them virtually. That's just norm. But I would say just give everything a little try. That's what I did from the modelling to the acting. And like you said, you could be doing all this, but are you a master of any of them? And I probably can't answer that. But that wealth of experience and passion and love, if anything, is just giving me experiences, it's giving me joy, it's giving me stories, it's giving me a wealth of, I really liked that, or that wasn't that good, but I tried it, didn't I? We held cricket tournaments back in the days when I was an umpire, because I wasn't very good at cricket, but I experienced all these guys who were brilliant. I was like, I wish I could do that, but I could probably do that as a footballer. It's just having that wide array of things. And I'm doing a little bit we're doing some workshops just now around filmmaking, and I'm bringing in facilitators to work with young people, and they're so standoffish, the young people. They don't want to show any emotion or tell you what it is. And I say to them, it's okay to talk, but they don't. So it's just young people are trying to conform to what they see in reality TV, or they see, with the best of fashion or the best of hair and lips and whatever that might be. And it's a shame, because they're missing out on just being innocent and just getting lost in that person who makes those mistakes and tries to have that perfection all the time, and that's unfair on them. But that's part of society and media and everything else. So I don't know if that answers your question, Gasson, but it's just trying stuff and being a bit vulnerable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and not being worried to ask questions or be yourself, really. Ultimately, yeah, you're so right. People feel that they have to be molded a certain way when they're doing things, and I love that advice. Anybody that asks me about sport, for instance, I'll always say to them, play everything. Play badminton, play tennis, play you name it, do it, because you don't know where it might stick or where you might just find, you know what, I prefer this to that. So try everything. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a great insight. I'm finally overjoyed to have sat down and got the chance to speak to, the famous Atta Yaqub, the Scottish Pakistani, the only Scottish Pakistani actor I know, and I hope some other people will see this, and we might see some other people coming through, because there is a shortage of people from our background as well as other backgrounds in roles, the type of roles that you have been involved in football, involved in acting. So I hope this gives inspiration to some out there.
Gasm, thank you. And you know what? There are some. They're making great inroads as well, and hats off to them, because it's a struggle and it's a challenge. But everyone's trying to live their own dream. I've just been very humbled and been able to get all this, and I've not mentioned some of the productions that I've worked on, but I think on a separate note, I'll send you maybe my show reel for acting and presenting, and you might have a look and go, wow, A4 Kiss isn't even in this, because that was many moons ago. So listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like you said, it's great meeting you, great sitting down with you. I'm glad we're on kind of similar journeys at the moment with some things. And I hope this is a continuation of our friendship rather than just a podcast chit chat.
Well, listen, we need to try. I need to come down and get involved in a football game soon. It's been a while since I kicked a ball, so I would love to see if I could put you under a bit of pressure on that holding midfielder's role. I like to be a bit more attacking minded, so that would be good. Maybe we can get you down to a cricket tournament or something to come down and experience it. If I can ever do anything to help anything that you're doing, would love to do so. So yeah, bro, it's nice to be connected, and here's to the future, inshallah.
Okay, well, take care. Thank you.
Take care.